am 32 years old. Today is May 10th, and I'm speaking with Ryna, who's my mom, on Mother's Day. We're recording remotely today. I'm located in Brooklyn, New York City, and my mom not here. Go ahead, Mom John.
My name is Yeghiazaryan. I am located in New Jersey, in Persephone. Unfortunately, meeting nowadays become almost impossible, so we decided to do it this way. I'm 57, and I was born March 5, 1963, and I'm talking to my daughter Tatev Yeghiazaryan, my second daughter out of 4.
That's right. And by the way, these questions and conversations, some of these questions are prepared by all 4 of us, all 4 of your daughters. So.
Looking forward to hear the questions.
Yeah, and I look forward to hearing the answers. So you have an intense, and colorful life, and continue to have survived through, almost a starving nation of the Soviet occupation in Armenia. You gave us all birth there, and then brought us to the U.S. through intense difficulties, and only you know what it felt like, but we're going to try to uncover some of that, because your spirit does not lose its shine throughout all these years and through all difficulties. And the point for this conversation would be really, I guess my first question, I'll go ahead and start with that. It's really for future generations and for us to listen to this in the future too, and your grandkids. And I wanted to know, for future generations listening, what would you want to pass on? What would your legacy be, and what do you want them to know most about your experiences, about your life, what they would find most useful? Let's start with that global question.
Well, is your question about motherhood or in general?
Both.
Well, it's a very wide topic to cover. I would say number one thing, it relates to motherhood or in general. I'm 57 now, and just recently I realized that it is so much true that the thoughts are materialistic. Like whatever you dream about, whatever you think, sooner or later it become reality. So be careful with your dreams, because if you don't realize that dreams come true, you better be careful, because you may sometimes dream about things that you don't even think that may come true, but they do. It's different story how long it takes. So it may take so long that you even forget that you ever dreamed about, but it will happen one day. And then after a while, you realize that, oh my God, this was my dream once, and now I'm living my dream. So dreams come true, and we are energy, and everything around us is energy. So, and it's up to us if we keep that energy flowing and positive, or we decide to, just be unhappy and be stuck in a negative, energyless condition, and be unhappy and make other people around us unhappy. And probably the most important thing I learned coming from culture that is very disregarding culture. It's kind of it considers a good manner to disregard yourself and think about others nonstop. Coming from that kind of culture, it's very difficult thing to realize one day that loving yourself and taking care of yourself is the most important thing. Because if you are not in peace with yourself, you are not satisfied, you're not happy, then there is no way you will make anyone else happy. Especially if your mother, it's a very known thing in all the cultures. When mother is not happy, nobody's happy. So you have to be happy to make your kids happy. That's number one thing.
Beautiful. Great. This next question is in particular about your growing up time in Armenia during Soviet occupation. You had a Russian education, unlike your children, unlike us. And this particular question comes from your third daughter, my sister Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your lack of real nationalism towards Armenia comes from, which you kind of partially answered just now, from growing up during Soviet occupation? I joined with her about this question. There, you never had really nationalistic, much ties to. I shouldn't say ties, but I think you understand the question. What was it that made you be a more
cosmopolitan? That's the question. Cosmopolitan.
Sure.
Oh, it's hard for me to say because I still don't know. I have feeling like sometimes in my past lives I was, I don't know, gypsy or Spanish, because there is no other way to give explanation to my weakness towards, let's say, flamenco and my dream to perform one day. And I did that too. I'm very proud of myself. I practiced a lot, and I ended up dancing with my favorite dance teacher. Well, it wasn't flamenco, it was paso doble, but still very close. So now, considering the fact that there are certain things about us that we cannot give any kind of logical explanation, like where is Armenia and where is flamenco? And I was sensing that since I was very, very little kid, I was seeing that flamenco dress and the fan, it would just boil my blood up. And I don't know why. And back then we didn't have that much access to other cultures as you do, guys, because of the internet. So now, why am I cosmopolitan? Maybe I was gypsy. I don't know. But logically, it may be explained, I think getting the Russian education back then was giving you more access towards more different cultures. Because, when more languages you know, more open you are towards different things. So that may be just logical explanation. Russian education would let me be connected with my own culture, Armenian culture, and culture outside of Armenia, which, Russia was quite big influence on the territory of the rest of the Soviet Union, of course. But I was connected more than, let's say, my sister who had Armenian education. So the language would allow me. Then, I learned a lot of Russian literature, which is one of the greatest literature in the world, as you know. So that could be an explanation. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I always had this feeling that I kind of don't really belong there. I belong to much wider space. And I may be wrong, but I have feeling I love Armenia. I love a lot of things about Armenian culture, and I'm trying to keep it running even now through me, through my children. Quite often I'm proudly saying that I am Armenian to my Russian husband, trying to accent and exaggerate certain deep qualities in me. But on the other hand, I have, probably because of the small nation psychology. Small nations are trying to save their culture very much, and quite often that kind of noble goal brings a lot of limitations and frames. So we tend to put things in boxes and label more. I mean, our culture. And whatever doesn't belong to us, we consider it's foreign, that it kind of affects our national values. And I always felt like, well, I'm not happy with that. I want things wider. I want things out of the box. Back then, I couldn't understand that. It's now I can explain. Back then, I just knew that some things was irritating me, and I felt like I don't have oxygen to breathe. I need more than people allowing me to have, and thinking, oh, this is good as long as you're getting to this point. So behind that point is too much, you're too crazy. And somehow I was feeling very rebellion towards all that. I put as a little girl even. So I don't think I can explain why. The only logical explanation is, yes, language allows you to have access to more things. but I guess it's my natural condition. I'm very, I heard from a lot of people that, and you guys quite often tell me that, like, when you see colorful things, it's like me. And I feel like I'm a wind. So.
Yes, you win. Very good. Beautiful, beautiful. Cool. My next question is in regards to a memory that I had as a child, Mom. When we were growing up, I mean, you know this as a parent better than I do, that we didn't have, much food in addition to no running water and the lack of electricity we had because of, conflicts with Azerbaijan and so forth. As a mother, I remember definitely one specific memory that kind of broke my heart when Mary, your youngest daughter, was born. She was very little, and it was again a night when we didn't have electricity, and you were on a small little kerosene warming up this egg to give to her. And I remember the smell of the egg when in the house as you were cooking it. And I came to the kitchen and I said, "Mom, can I have that egg?" And I remember you started crying. You said, "Tatev, I'm sorry. It has to go to Mary." I guess I wanted to know if, as a mother, was that because you survived through and lived through many other difficulties too, but as just as something as simple as food not having be there for your child, was that something that scarred you more than any other psychological difficulties? Or I guess just talk about that for just a little. I know it's a very emotional subject, but if you can summarize it for really all mothers and parents to hear that you've gone through that, and now where you're at now and where we all are now, how difficult was it to have 4 kids for whom you sometimes didn't know what you were going to feed the next day,
Yeah, it is very emotional.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, this is why we're doing it, to remember all this, because we don't talk about these things anymore.
Yeah, it scars you, but that wasn't the most difficult, because I kind of knew, even if I cannot give each of you egg, I knew I can replace it with something. Well, let's mention, because I don't think everybody will know what we're talking about. So it wasn't the condition, just it was the condition after Soviet Union. So Armenia was living without electricity, without money, literally. So it wasn't like in our family only condition of the country. We were having war, we were having all these refugees, being poor ourselves. So that just recognition of the situation that everybody is living like that would make it feel not as awful. And in fact, compared to others, we were still doing good, because at least you had clothing and shoes to wear to go to school, because from time to time, one of you would come and say, "Oh, like the boy from our class cannot come to the school because he doesn't have shoes. Can we take our old shoes to them?" And of course, it would make my heart, and I would give whatever possible I could share to, for you to share with your classmates so they can come to school. Or I remember clearly how we had that schedule in every class. So every day of the week, one of the students would take wood to the school, so you will have the stove running, so you will not freeze during the classes. So that was general condition, work condition. And I knew that being very creative, I would always make different fruit from the same, let's say, grocery. So, okay, you didn't get food, but you got something else that you like. So that's traumatized me the most. What traumatized me the most, I think, but it did, of course, see, because I got emotional again. Sometimes I learned that I think that I forgot about things, and I do really, but then when emotion comes, it just turns me upside down.
So interesting.
What was the most traumatizing? It was, and that was actually gave me power to just come to United States without knowing where I'm going, to who I'm going. There was no one was expecting me here. What would happen to me? I literally came with $100 in my pocket. And I knew that I'm just coming to, well, it's kind of connected because, yeah, when you were little, we were, and I'm very proud to hear every time when, especially Sona talks about it quite often, that growing in that condition, none of you even realized in what condition you're growing, because I was doing everything impossible to make your life as fun as possible. So we were participating.
Yeah, that's actually
we were participating. I was doing exhibitions for Sona. You were participating in this the song contest and stuff. So we were thinking about what kind of dress we're gonna wear. No, we didn't have material. We would cut something from the carton and make something interesting. So it was mostly a fun, creative mode in a family. And while you were little, I mean, it's fun. You were kind of happy anyway. And when the time came that, after I realized that my girls are not regular, they're very gifted by God. And I cannot allow these kids just stay here and happen. They will get married, have kids, and that's it. All this potential will be locked out in this everyday condition. Somehow, I guess by my instincts, I was sensing that not every young woman or not young woman find this power within them to just keep kind of exploring and developing all the potential they have. You end up just feeling broke and down, and just go with the flow instead of just listening to your inner call. And I didn't want that to happen to my girls. I knew they have potential, and I knew I would feel the most guilty mom in the world if I would allow you to just stay in conditions that will make almost impossible to develop all the potential that you had. So I feel like no matter what, as I said, dreams come true. I knew that I was thinking, no matter what, I will take the girls out of here to the place that have more opportunities. So that was the most painful thing. I did not want that to happen. When you graduate the school and you have to face the fact that, oh my God, I cannot pay for education. It means my girls, God knows if they will be able to get education, because somehow I was feeling that it will be more easy to get scholarship in Columbia University, being such a, world-known place, than you would get scholarship in Armenia, because there is no such a thing. So if I would not be able to pay for your education, then you're the most talented among all the applicants, let's say, then you will not have education. And that was like, no for me. I had to do something to not allow this to happen. So that's why I came without knowing will happen. And I thought, well, at least I will make money for their education. That was my goal. And while I'm making money, I will try everything to bring them over. And it happened. So I met a lot of good people in the United States that I'm very grateful. And I'm still meeting a lot of good people. So, and that my concern was that too. Okay, now I did the most important thing. I know that I'm bringing you over, but then I know education is very expensive here. How I'm going to pay for that? Of course, I cannot pay. I'm a new immigrant with 4 little kids. And then turns out there is a lot of scholarships, even if we're not talking about FAFSA or government support. We're talking about a lot of private Armenian scholarships who are there to support talented Armenians. And my kids were talented. I knew it. So miracle happened. My 4 kids got all education almost for free. I was paying very little for each of you each time. I would consider it for free. So it happened. As long as you're brave enough to go forward and try, the doors will open.
So beautiful. So now we, I guess, very smoothly come to the next question that Mar asked my youngest sister. She said, when you came to the U.S. first, when you were here for 2 years by yourself before you brought us here, she asked what was the most, well, we know what the highlight was, which was that your dream came true and you did did an incredible job of finding the lawyer and bringing us here, which is a miracle. True. She asked what the most difficult thing for you was during those 2 years that you were here by yourself.
Loneliness.
Sorry.
Loneliness.
That later. Loneliness.
Being in a huge world with all the opportunities, which doesn't belong to you yet, because you're just on level 0, even on negative still. You're not legal, you don't have rights, but you're willing to work hard as only, I don't know who can work that hard. And feeling that there is museums you dreamed about and everything, but you don't want to even try that because you want your girls to be with you, so you can try your family be with you. And feeling of loneliness is, and back then, don't forget, there was not internet, YouTube, all those things, Skype. So the most thing I could do, like call once a week to talk to you without seeing you. And constantly, burning my brain how to find solution. And so the loneliness, at one point, I had to give your father's contact to this family's lady who I worked for, because I realized that if something happened to me, and it could easily happen, because the only pleasure I was getting at that point was my bicycle rides. When I would put this senior citizen that I really loved, that man. I was taking really good care of him because I loved him. So, and the only way when he would go to sleep at night and the family was in home safe, I would take my bicycle and just go riding a bike on these dark roads of West Milford, which is like serpentines. I didn't have night light on me, nothing. So the cars would get crazy and beep on me. When I started to drive myself, I clearly understood that it was a miracle that no one really killed me on that road, because it was very, very dark. Nobody can see me. And these poor drivers, all of a sudden, this crazy lady on her bicycle jumps in front of them. So, but yeah, without light, without nothing. So it was, but it was the only thing that I would just enjoy.
Yeah.
I would get heart attack. So
next question.
I gave her my phone, your phone. I'll call you. That loneliness was the hardest.
She's wondering about your character and all these colors, that you have, and also this incredible jumping out of the bridge just to find a new way when you are facing closed doors. You have this incredible power to do that. Nonetheless, she's asking if you yourself during the last few years have observed what is the most powerful character of yours, which you kind of already answered, but if there is something in your character traits that you don't like, and if so, what would you like to change about your character or perception of it? Yes, if there is something
what would I like to change
that you dislike, and if so, if it exists, would you?
I guess I'm very emotional. That's that kind of. It's that gives me my best characteristics, and it gives me my best worst values as well. I'm too emotional, but this is how I live. I live through my heart. I don't live through my brain. That's the. Although I have a quite strong brain, I hope, but brain doesn't control my actions. My impulses control my actions, and that everything that I have good comes from that, and everything that I have bad comes from that. So I don't think I would change anything.
I loved when you came to stay with me and you told me the few little stories about the Yerevan experience you had. I don't know which story you'd like to share right now, shortly, but I remember the one you told me about the flower, how naive you were, and when you entered the subway, when the guy said, "Can I?" Would you love? I would love
Yeah.
to share for you to share that story if you don't mind.
Well, actually, that is part of what I was talking about. That is part of being um, um, from the culture that gives you all these rules about right and wrong, you know, all limitations and stuff. And while you do that, then, well, probably they're right. You need to be careful. You don't talk to the strangers and this and that. Even if it's spring and your soul just sings and you want to dance and fly and everything, and then someone comes and gives you flowers, oh, your right response is supposed to be, oh, you know what, I'm a good girl, I don't talk to strangers. So and and just happens because that's what you hear constantly, and you don't want to be good that girl, you want to be a good girl. So yes, yeah, it was spring. I was in a very great mood, and I was just flying the stairs down. And then all of a sudden, this young man, and I'm student, I'm a young girl too, turned around. He probably sensed the heels that I was wearing. I said, "Can I give you flowers?" And well, actually, I said, "Yes, of course. Thank you." He got flowers, he gave it to me, and we said goodbye, and that was it. But a few times, well, right now, the other story that I noticed group of young men talking about something, and all of a sudden, one of them came to me and he said, "You know what? It's my birthday. We're going to celebrate it. And I just had a bet with my friends that I'm going to convince you to come with us and celebrate my birthday. Would you come?" Now I would. Back then I said, "No, sorry, I'm busy," but I lied. Yeah. I wasn't.
Said no. Also, another time you said in the subway there was a gentleman with his young
Right.
son.
Right.
Yeah, that basically he suggested that you guys get together, and you said no.
Right. Right. Because
right?
now, when I know myself better, my curiosity is out of ordinary level. It's like if you tell me to describe myself with one word, I would say brave. You know, I'm brave to crazy level. So if I would allow myself to be myself, nothing would stop me. I would go and, you know, spend some time with people, know more people. And that's the beauty of life. You never know what to expect from little things. So, but back then I was lacking that up because my culture was constantly telling me, oh, that's not good, you know, you need to be careful, this and that. So that's what I would change in myself, by the way. I would just listen to my inner voice right from the beginning. Whatever I missed in my life happened because instead of listening to my inner voice, I was listening to cultural limitations.
Yeah, yeah. What makes you the proudest out of everything you have done, achieved, or have in your life?
That's a difficult question. That regardless the stereotypes that were kind of injected for years and years in my mind and in my soul,
yes,
I found the key to happiness. That I think it was for me in particular, considering the family I came from, considering the culture I came from, considering being the oldest child in a family that had the most responsibilities. Also, I literally didn't have childhood. I had a lot of responsibilities since I was a little girl. So it wasn't a childhood like, you know, restless. I mean, just free, have fun. It was constantly a lot of things to be responsible for. That finally, when I was about 50, close to 50 years old, maybe a little earlier, I broke all these stereotypes, and with very painful trail, passing very painful path, I learned that I need to take care of myself first. That's so I guess that was the most difficult thing for me to do, and that's what I'm very proud of, that I learned it.
Good. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. We have 10 more minutes, and I wanted to ask, since I also am helping you in seeing what you are going through now, as far as what your desires are about communicating what you've already learned through doing these videos. And, anyways, you and I know what I'm talking about. But since I know of it and am a participant of it, I wanted to see what is it overall. Again, it's somehow going to summarize what you already said, but talk about the specifics of what you think your future holds, and what is the most concise message you want to leave after you. I mean, you're going to be with us for many, many years, but I want to ask this question as far as your message for the future and what it is you think your future holds.
Well, this is interesting that you're asking this question, because I did ask that question several times to myself. Like, let's say this is my last day, what I would suggest, what advice I would leave for my children.
Mm-hmm.
And over and over, I realized that I don't know, and I don't want to leave any philosophical message, like any deep things, because I don't know a lot of things myself. I finally learned that we really don't know anything. We don't. We're trying to understand things, but we don't know, because there's so many things that if you dig, so many things that you learn that makes you understand that you don't know anything. And it's silly to try to know anything. So the only thing, that would be my advice, and that's what I learned. The only thing we can some kind of influence on is ourselves. So if you want to change the world around you, you better change your way of seeing the world and your way of acting and thinking. So just if you want to be something and do something meaningful, start with yourself. And when you change your own way of seeing, the world will change too, because the world gives us back what we give to world.
Right. What do you want specifically, though, as far as your projects and things that you're into right now, and learning and teaching yourself and asking me questions about technology and video and all this stuff? What do you think is that part of the
Well,
future?
I think we all are different, so I would not suggest to any of you anything like that, because you will, as long you, my children, or anyone else is open to listen to their inner voice, they will sense what is that they want. What I sensed, I'm a very, like, communa is my way of existing, because being all by yourself, that's kind of double-sided, it's conflicting kind of message, but I'm quite happy being with myself and working with my inner qualities. But at the same time, that all kind of loses meaning when you don't have communication with other people, because that's the energy all about. So I learned that if I can change my even interpretation of the world, my own feelings, my own reflection of the world, but I don't have people to share that with, then it loses the meaning.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm trying to learn all this computer stuff, even I try to avoid it all my life, now because of all this coronavirus situation, it became a kind of necessity. I think at least that will be the good way to communicate and share, because there is no way to preach and make anyone to learn something. Person has to be ready to, open to take and, learn more. If someone is happy where they are, you better leave them where they are. When they gain all the necessary qualities to want to change, then they will ask and look for that change. So let's say when I did this arts therapy seminar for Armenia, right? I didn't make any money out of it. Actually, I spent money because I had to buy a ticket and stuff. But when I was working with young professionals, and these girls would look at me with this, light in their eyes, like sun was burning in their eyes, and they gave me feedback that I opened their eyes to so many things. And one of them even told me that, you know what, before I came to this seminar, I didn't even realize how much limitations we have in our culture that is not allowing us to be ourselves, now I kind of got it. I sensed it. So I feel like, wow, my goal is achieved. Because that wasn't my direct goal, to make a revolution among women or something. But I wanted people to sense that there's so many more things if you allow yourselves to be open and free. So that gave so much meaning to that 2 months of work I had when I created that seminar for 6 days. So my goal is just to communicate with people and be happy, and whoever needs help to give them that key how to get there, because I guess I found that key. It doesn't mean that I'm happy all the time, and I don't think it's actually real for any person. There's always ups and downs. I feel down sometimes too, but I have the tools to get out from there as soon as possible, which was almost impossible, let's say 10 years ago.
Yeah. Can you we have now 4 minutes, Mom John. I wanted you, when you say I have the tools right now to find not happiness but contentment, that you can come back. Can you share 1 or 2 specific practices that help you find this path towards balancing your internal?
One biggest practice is when you finally realize, as I said, that world gives you back what you put in a wall. So if you're trying to be positive, you're understanding, and like no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything. You have to take care of your inner world. You have to find that happy place in you. And very helpful for me, I'm the person who likes to be physically active. So any physical activity helps. Riding a bike, hiking, that makes me happy. And that's Wim Hof breathing method. That was the biggest key to me when I started to breathe, and with the previous understanding of energy and our unity as an energy field everywhere and stuff like that. And that breathing was mine. And I figured right away, because when I did it first day and second day, and I sensed that it takes me to totally different fields of energy. I was sensing it. I realized it's mine. So I stuck to that, and I'm doing for last year and more with the cold water and other things. That was my kind of key to the door, but that's not enough. It's constant work. And yes, one of the things, one of the most important things, never hold on. We all get angry sometimes. It happens. But political correctness, I don't believe in political correctness. And I don't believe in anger too. There's no reason to be angry with anyone, but you have to express your unsatisfaction with something when people are different. Some people are sensitive. Some people are just looking for reason to pull on you their anger without you giving them reason. So you just don't allow. That's part of loving yourself, not allowing anyone to cross that line. But you need to do that with dignity. That's one of the things that I learned. Never allow. I mean, we always allow, but then instead of swallowing and hiding it under the rock, just take it out, and that will help. Yeah, that's one of the tools, one of the important tools.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mom. I feel proud that I introduced you to Wim Hof. Not that you would have gotten any benefit if you didn't know already about the energy and but
yes,
that made me feel happy. That's good. Okay, fantastic. Mom, well, happy Mother's Day. I'm so glad we could do this together. I hope the internet connection and the audio recording does not have any buzzes in it. I love you very much. We all love you. And thank you for your time and wisdom.
Thank you. And well, I survived through all the difficulties of having 4 teenager girls, and now I'm having the love that my kids try to give me in all different way, including this way, which was very pleasant to know that this is your gift for me. Thanks a lot. And see, I survived all the difficulties. Now I'm enjoying motherhood more than I could ever imagine.
We feel that from wherever you are, and I'm very happy for it. Ureman, Kesbari or Mamjan, thank you again. And
thank you. Thank you, Tatev. I love you too. Bye-bye. And I'm very proud of you, by the way, too.
I am of you too. I mean, the later it takes for you to learn all this wisdom, it's more difficult because our paths in the brain are already settled. So I know that it has been very difficult for you, and I am proud of
Thanks.
you. That means
and my weakness came. See, I cried. I didn't want to cry, but I did. So there's nothing I can do with that.
Oh, it's okay. It's good.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. Thank you.